Tim McIndoe.
Thank you, Mr Chair. It's great to follow on from my very energetic colleague Maggie Barry, the member for North Shore, and I think to pick up on her very positive tone, because listening to some of the members opposite, you'd think that everything was wrong in education, and in fact that's not my experience at all. Yesterday I had the pleasure of visiting Melville Primary School in my electorate, and I just think there's such bustling, happy, positive environments. Great principal there, dedicated staff, and young people who are all focused on what they need to do and taking advantage of the opportunities they're given. So just before I talk about some of the specific aspects of the education estimates, I want to draw attention to a very good presentation that was given in the Grand Hall during the dinner adjournment, which I suppose crosses over both the justice and the education sector. But there's no question that education now is a highly IT-dominated activity, and young children now are incredibly computer literate, and of course there's that great maxim now that whenever people of our age get stuck, you need to look for a 21st century kid in order to help you sort things out. But the reason I want to draw attention to that particular exercise that we had this evening was that it was all about cyber safety and knowing how to use the internet and all the sort of online options safely. And this is a document that's been put out, Staying Safe Online, that I would strongly commend to all parents and to children who are old enough to be able to make sense of it, because it contains a whole lot of tips, good practical stuff on how to use the internet safely. And of course that's something that is very important in our schools now, because we all, I'm sure, are aware of the fact that some young people have got themselves into incredible difficulty and at times very distressing circumstances when they have misused the internet. And this is a document that's been produced in collaboration between NetSafe, Facebook, YouTube, Google, Microsoft, Yahoo New Zealand and TradeMe. And if there are parents who are watching who'd like to know how to get it, I'm sure that if you go to the NetSafe website, which is www.netsafe.org.nz, you would get it from there. And it does, as I say, contain a lot of information that is highly valuable, and I want to thank all the presenters tonight for being here in Parliament to educate the MPs and others who are present on this rapidly evolving aspect of our lives. So listening to some of the members opposite, you would think that education was chronically underfunded and that everything was going wrong. Well, let me just point out to those who are listening that in the next financial year, $10.1 billion is allocated to vote education. And we have, as a government, progressively increased the investment right across the board, and tied to that, significant increases in our expectations of educational outcomes. And I want to acknowledge all of those who are working in the education sector for the significant achievements that they are getting. I was particularly disappointed to hear Mr Hipkins before trying to argue that somehow this government has cut funding for early childhood education. Nothing, sir, could be further from the truth. And in fact, in the last election, I remember going to meetings with a chart showing the huge increase in our investment in early childhood education over the years of this national government. I'm very proud of that, and I'm particularly proud of that tied to the increase in funding was a particular challenge to raise engagement by Maori and Pacifica families, because they were traditionally the families who were the most likely to be not engaged in early childhood education. And we all know that those who have a good experience in those pre-primary school days and who are ready to learn hit school running and take off, whereas the children who arrive at school having not had that basic education are at a disadvantage from the outset, and all the stats tell us that they are likely to fall further and further behind. And so, sir, I want to commend all those who are working in the early childhood sector for the incredible successes that they are having at the moment, where we are seeing Maori and Pacifica levels of achievement and engagement in early childhood education at record levels, and pretty much up there now with European and Asian and other population groups. And that has to be good for every one of us. So at the other end of the scale, another initiative that I am really excited about is the Youth Guarantee Scheme. Because Youth Guarantee is seeing a large number of young people, teenagers, 16, 17 and now even 18 and 19-year-olds, who have previously fallen out of the education system, gone through the cracks, often been in truants or engaged in activities outside school which are unsatisfactory. Now they're getting ahead with Youth Guarantee. It's a system that is working tremendously, and it is seeing again a huge increase in opportunities for young people.
Members, the question is that vote education stand part of the schedules. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. The question is that the Education Review Office stand part of the schedules. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. The question now is that arts, culture and heritage, arts, culture and heritage stand part of the schedules. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. The question is that vote Attorney General stand part of the schedules. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. The question is that vote Parliamentary Council stand part of the schedules. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. The question is that vote treaty negotiations stand part of the schedules. The Honourable Tauhanari.
Mr. Chairman, just a few words. I want to first